Welcome to Alquézar, one of Spain's most beautiful hidden gems. In this video, I'm taking you with me on a hike along the Pasarelas del Río Vero, a trail suspended along the cliffs and carved into the canyons of the Sierra de Guara. This hike, full of metal walkways, rushing turquoise water, and dramatic rock faces, is a perfect blend of geology, nature, and pure sensory wonder. It was a warm, sunny spring day, just the kind of weather that makes a hike unforgettable. Let's dive in. I arrived in Alquézar just before 11 a.m., the sun already softening the stone facades of this medieval hilltop village. After a short walk through its cobbled lanes, I picked up my entrance ticket, just €5, which included access to the route. There was no time slot or helmet needed, just a QR code printed on a piece of paper, a tiny modern token before stepping into a much older, wilder world. The hike begins just off the main square. A stone ramp drops quickly into the heart of the canyon, and before long, the modern world is out of sight. The metal walkways appear almost suddenly, suspended along rock walls, zigzagging high above the river. You descend gradually at first, passing through wooden ramps nestled between the massive bulk of Peña Castibian on one side and the medieval walls of the Colegiata on the other. The scent of moss hangs in the air. Spring is waking up around every corner. Trees shooting out new leaves, birdsong echoing off the cliffs, little ferns growing on wet canyon walls. The light filters in, catching on the jagged limestone and making the river below glow in brilliant blues and greens. It was one of those perfectly warm days, not too hot, just warm enough to feel the sun on your back and the air alive with freshness. Geologically, this is a spectacular place. The canyon of the Rio Vero cuts through ancient limestone layers, carved out over millions of years. These rock faces are part of the Eocene formations of the Sierra de Guara, formed some 40 to 50 million years ago when this region was under a shallow sea. As the Pyrenees rose, the land uplifted, rivers like the Vero began slicing their way through the terrain, creating the narrow gorges and overhanging cliffs we see today. The limestone here is perfect for erosion. It cracks easily, absorbs water, and allows the river to sculpt dramatic shapes. Overhangs, cavities, vertical walls. You can see it in the patterns along the rock, in the smooth hollows and sharp ledges. And because of the porous nature of limestone, water still drips down in places, feeding the moss, ferns, and algae that cling to every shaded surface. The trail takes you lower, until you're walking directly over the riverbed on a series of metallic catwalks. These were originally created to make the gorge accessible, but they've become one of the most iconic features of the trail. The sensation of walking above the river, sometimes just a few feet above, sometimes much higher, is both thrilling and peaceful. Beneath your feet, the Rio Vero glides silently over stone, broken only by small waterfalls and rapids. One of the highlights is a cascade that pours into a crystalline pool, with light bouncing off the surface in a shimmer of silver and green. You'll pass the Cueva de Picamartillo, a natural rock formation on the left bank of the river. Further on is the old hydroelectric plant, a relic of the early 20th century when the Vero was harnessed for energy. Just upstream, the remains of an old dam can still be seen, blending into the natural rock like a ghost of past industry. These human touches are subtle and few, but they remind you how long people have lived in and adapted to this dramatic landscape. The canyon stays cool, even when the sun is out. The tall walls offer shade in parts, while other sections burst with warmth and wildflowers. Swallows dart overhead, and if you pause long enough, you can hear the trickle of water echoing through the tightest parts of the gorge. This place feels alive, geologically, biologically, spiritually. You don't need to see the ancient cave drawings, even though they exist nearby. The rock tells its own story, one layer at a time. Toward the end of the trail, a climb takes you to a viewpoint over the Rio Vero Canyon. From here, the full sweep of the landscape opens up, the village of Alquézar perched on its limestone throne, the canyon slicing through the valley, and the surrounding foothills of the Pyrenees reaching off into the distance. It's a perfect place to stop, to breathe, to appreciate how something as simple as water and time can carve out a place so striking. This hike is short, just a few kilometers, but it stays with you. It's a reminder of how nature reveals itself slowly, quietly, and always in layers. The Pasarelas del Río Vero isn't just a path through a canyon. It's a journey through time, geology, weather, and life. On a warm spring day, with sunlight on the cliffs and the sound of water in your ears, it becomes more than just a hike. It's a story, written in stone, moss, and water, that you get to walk through. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this hike, be sure to subscribe, and check out the rest of the channel for more adventures across Spain and beyond.